Good morning, everyone. We are from Group 6. We will present our presentation about feminism. But first, let us introduce ourselves. My name is Adi Bagus Pangestu as moderator and speaker, Via Kolila as speaker, and Ardia Putra Arifin as speaker.
Introduction. Feminist criticism is concerned with the ways in which literature and other cultural production reinforce or undermine the economic, political, social, and psychological oppression of women. Feminist goals is to change the degrading view of women so that all women will realize that they are not a non-significant other, but that instead each woman is a valuable person possessing the same privilege and rights as every man. Feminists hope to create a society in which the female voice is valued equally with the male.
I will explain about historical background of feminism. There are three waves of feminism. One, first wave feminism, late 70s until early 90s. Two, second wave feminism, early 1960s until late 1970s. And three, third wave feminism, early 1990s until present. And also, there are three distinct geographical strains of feminism have developed: one American, two British, and three French. But I will explain the three waves of feminism first. Okay, number one is the first wave feminism. First wave feminism refers to an extended period of feminist activity during the 19th century and early 20th century in the United Kingdom and in the United States. Originally, it focused on the promotion of equal contract and property rights for women and the opposition to chattel marriage and ownership of married women and their children by their husband. However, by the end of the 19th century, activism focused primarily on gaining political power, particularly the right of women's suffrage. Yet feminists such as Voltaire de Cleyre and Margaret Sanger were still active in campaigning for women's sexual, reproductive, and economic rights all this time. In 1854, Florence Nightingale established female nurses as adjuncts to the military. Number two is second wave feminism, early 1960s until late 1970s. Feminists and their accompanying literary theories and practices find their beginnings in the women's liberation movement of 1960s. During this time, women gained the right to vote and become prominent activists in the social issues of the day, such as healthcare, education, politics, and literature. But equality with men in these arenas remained outside their grasp. In 1919, the British scholar, teacher, and early feminist Virginia Woolf laid the foundation for feminist criticism in her work, A Room of One's Own, in which she declared that men have treated women and continue to treat them as inferiors. It is the male, she asserted, who defines what it means to be female and who controls the political, economic, social, and literary structure. In 1949, publication of French writer Simone de Beauvoir's The Second Sex Beaufort's text declares that both France and Western society are patriarchal, that is, they are controlled by males. Like Woolf, Beaufort believed that the male in these societies defines what it means to be human, including, therefore, what it means to be female. In 1960s and its political activism and social concerns, feminist issues found new voice. Feminist critics began examining the traditional literary canon and discovered abundant evidence of male dominance and prejudice that supported Beaufort's assertion that males consider the female the other, an unnatural or deviant being. First, stereotypes of women abundant in the canon. Women were sex maniacs, goddesses of beauty, mindless entities, or old spinsters. Second, while Dickens, Wordsworth, Hawthorne, Thoreau, and Swift, and a host of other male authors were canonized, few female writers achieved such status. Third, for the most part, the roles of female fictionalized characters were limited to secondary position, more frequently than not occupying minor parts within the stories of simply conforming to the male stereotypical image of woman. And fourth, female scholars such as Virginia Woolf and Simone de Beauvoir were ignored. Their writings seldom, if ever, referred to by male crafters of the literary canon. In America, Kate Chopin's late 19th century novel "The Awakening" served as the archetypical, rediscovered feminist text of this period, while in England, Doris Lessing's "The Golden Notebook" in 1962, and in France, Monique Wittig's "Les Guerrilleros" in 1989 fulfilled these roles. Three is third wave feminism, early 1990s until present. Feminist interest continued throughout the decade of the 1980s as it does today. Coined by the feminist scholar Elaine Showalter, the term gynocriticism has now become synonymous with the study of women as writers and provides critics with four models concerning the nature of women's writing that help answer some of the chief concerns of feminist criticism. Each of Showalter's model is sequential, submitting and developing the preceding models as follows. 1. The biological model, with its emphasis on how the female body marks itself upon the text by providing a host of literary images and a personal, intimate tone. 2. The linguistic model concerning itself with the differences between women's and men's use of language and with the question of whether women can and do create a language peculiar to their gender and utilize such a language in their writings. 3. The physicoanalytic model based on an analysis of the female physique and how such an analysis affects the writing process, and 4. The cultural model investigating how the society in which female authors work and function shapes women's goals, responses, and points of view. I will explain about three distinct geographical strains of feminism. Since no one critical theory of writing dominates feminist criticism, there are three distinct geographical strains of feminism have developed: one American, two British, and three French. For the most part, American feminism emphasizes the actual text with all its textual qualities such as theme, voice, and tone, while at the same time being suspicious of any one theory that would attempt to explain the differences between male and female writings. British feminism declares itself to be more political than American feminism, advocating social change. British feminism is more ideological and therefore seemingly more concerned with social and cultural change than its American counterpart. British feminism attempts to analyze the relationship between gender and class and to show how the dominant power structures controlled by men influence all of society and oppress women. And for French feminism concentrates on language, analyzing how meaning is produced through various linguistic symbols. Such an analysis usually leads three critics into other areas of study such as metaphysics, psychology, and art.
Now, assumption. The feminist assumption is that women are not treated equally to men, and as a result, women are disadvantaged in comparison to men. Almost all modern societal structures are patriarchal, that men are the dominant force in making the majority of political, economic, and cultural decisions. Feminism focuses on the idea that since women comprise one half of the world population, true social progress can never be achieved without the complete and spontaneous participation of women. There is a common misconception that feminists are reverse sexist. However, unlike male sexists who oppress women, feminists do not seek to oppress men. Rather, they seek equal compensation, opportunities, and treatment for both genders. Feminism seeks to achieve equal treatment and opportunity for women and men in order to achieve similar opportunities across different fields of work and culture and equal respect in a variety of roles.
Methodology to challenge and change Western culture's assumption that males are superior to females, feminist critics may begin the debunking of male superiority by exposing stereotypes of women found throughout the literary canon. The feminist critics might then turn to American, the English, or a non-Western literary canon seeking to discover works written by women. Reread the canon-sized works of male authors from a woman's point of view. This female model of literary analysis offers four areas of investigation. The first, image of the female body as presented in a text. Such an anatomical study, for example, would highlight how various parts of the female body, such as the uterus and breast, often become significant images in works authored by women. Second, female language, such A concern centers on the differences between male and female language. Since we live in patriarchal society, it would be fair to assume, say feminists, that our language is also male dominated. The third, the female physique and the relationship to the writing process. Such an analysis applies the psychological works of Freud, whose theories most feminists wish to debunk, and Lacan to attacks and shows how the physical and psychological development of the female evidence itself in the writing process through a variety of psychological stages. The fourth, culture. By analyzing culture force such as the importance and value of women's roles in a given society, critics who emphasize this area of study investigate how society shapes a woman's understanding of herself, her society, and her world. Whatever method of feminist criticism we choose to apply to a text, we can begin textual analysis by asking some general questions, such as: is the author male or female? What types of roles do women have in a text? Are the female characters the protagonists or secondary and minor characters? Do any stereotypical characterization of women appear? What are the attitudes towards women held by the male characters? What is the author's attitude toward the woman in society? How does the author's culture influence her or his attitude? Is feminine imagery used? If so, what is the significance of such imagery? By asking any or all of these questions of a text, we can begin our journey in feminist criticism while simultaneously helping ourselves to better understand the world in which we live.
Summary: women have had many great breakthroughs with their protests, but many still turn a blind eye to the fact that there is sexual discrimination. Men are still more respected than women in our society. Not only do they receive higher pay, but the products are marketed toward them are less than those marketed for women. However, new generations are taking the movement by storm with even males supporting women in their fight. The problem of women's rights at hand is not going away anytime soon, but its growing popularity gives hope to all those fighting for equality. The goal of feminism is to create non-discrimination, which is essential for creating equality to ensure that no one is denied their rights due to factors such as race, gender, language, religion, sexual orientation, gender identity, political or other beliefs, nationality, social origin, class, or wealth status. Thank you.
So that's all for our presentation about feminism. Thank you for your attention and see you next time.